Hi guys, how are you? Welcome back to the garden on a glorious spring day. Can you see? No scarf. That means the temperatures are finally rising. It's beautiful. Let me just step with you in the sun and show you. In my back you can see the house and you can see clear blue skies over here. Fun thing is, like, Gdansk is over there in that direction, the city of Gdansk. It is west facing from where we are here. And quite often there is really a difference in the weather situation, even though it's just a couple of kilometers, but it's a little hilly over there in Gdansk. And I can tell just looking over there, it's a little hazy. Well, here it's just glorious and beautiful, which means it's a perfect day to take you with me into the garden. And I'm very excited about today's project. And now I say it every single time when I start a video, but today I'm really excited because this is something I was longing to do for quite a long time already, which is something that I've announced already in my previous video where we had the little early spring garden tour. I will finally remove the turf for the new herbaceous border that I'm planning, and this is obviously exciting. So I have help today, which is ideal because removing turf works best when you have a machine, and that machine, for me at least, that is quite heavy duty, so I couldn't possibly lift that in and out of the trunk of a car, which is really nice to have a little helper today. And I can tell you my helper is just in your back cutting the hedges already, which also makes me very happy because I love to cut when it comes like to topiary and, like, I don't know, cutting box spheres and stuff like that. But just a simple straight line hedge doesn't excite me that much. So yeah, that is just like a lovely surprise that somebody's helping me out with that as well. But what we're going to do now is I collect everything I need for today's project, and then I take you with me to the back of the garden. Just in case that today is the first time you ever discover my channel and a video, let me just show you how the garden in general works. So if I just swing around, I'm standing in the back garden now, and now you're going to have a look at the island bed here, which is pretty much the midsection of the garden with a house sitting there. And if I just swing back, the entire back of the garden is southwest facing, which is really lovely because it's sun-filled. So this here is a new perennial border that I planted up last year, April, May, I would say. Developed really beautifully. I'm very happy with it, especially once you can finally tell that there is something planted in there. And if we just step to the back, there is going to be a complete new border here, like an herbaceous border, which means I will put in shrubs, evergreens and perennials, so I'm mixing it. It's not going to be a perennial border. And my intention for this area are that I want to make sure that the garden melts naturally into the landscape. I don't want to have this clear separation and cut. There is a fence here, but I kind of want that the fence in a way disappears. You can tell I've already removed just a narrow strip here last maybe October, I think, just to indicate the shape of the bed, because I still want to have this path basically leading here towards the compost heap. But it should feel a little more like exploring the garden because it is a quite long strip, and this is what I try to break up a little bit. You can tell there's also a little bit of a banana shape in here. So this is already where I removed turf last November, I believe, because I still had more tulips on the way. And then I planted them in there because I thought, okay, if I develop this new area, I obviously want to have some tulips in there as well. What I can show you is also the situation here. So at one point, before we actually had any flower beds or anything in the back of the garden, at first it was just weeds. And then we decided we leveled it up, put lawn in here just to control everything. And then we put this mesh underneath to prevent the mold from coming through. This was not a proper mesh that's recommended for it. There was just like a random one. And it worked fairly well for 8 years, but then the mold found its way through and now it's like breaking everywhere. So that was, it was, I think, a good intention, but didn't really work out that well. So just a quick look on the slope. Nothing really happened here. Everything still looks exactly how I showed you last time. The veg garden looking still cute and nice. And then over here, everything's just ready basically for me planting at one point. So a lot of my annuals, dahlias, perennials, all those things are bound to go in here. And then I really want to make sure that the back garden, like the new border here, will melt into the slope. This is really the goal that I have for this area. When you want to remove your turf or your sod, however you want to call it, there are all different ways on how to do it. One of the most old-fashioned one is manual labor with a spade. And yes, this is what I've done as well in the past. If there is no machine available, this is how you do it. There are special spades available for that, but trust me, just a normal one does exactly the same job. So this is exactly what I did with this area here that I just showed you, where I have my banana, my brown banana on the ground with my tulip. So all you do basically is you define the area, you come in with your spade and you really just get in there bit by bit and then you just cut out little squares or rectangles. And what you do is you just come down with your spade, lift it underneath the sod or the turf, and then you can lift it and off it goes onto your compost heap, or you can even build like a little hedge with that, or as I use them for the terraces at the back of a slope. But this works quite nice if you have a smaller area, but this is not a small area. So obviously that is not what I'm going to do today. What I want to do today is waiting over here. This is the machine. So this is a special machine that you can use to remove your turf or your sod. And it works fairly easily. In a way, it is like a very, very heavy mower basically. And what it does is, you can tell it has 4 kind of good substantial sized tires here, and underneath there is a blade, kind of like a sharp knife sitting underneath. It is powered by petrol, so there is a little tank on top of here. And all you do basically is you start the engine just how you would do it with your normal mower, and then you can control it here. There is this little lever here, and you can define how deep you want the knife to go into the ground. I put it quite deep, almost the deepest that you could possibly do it. And then there is just another little thing here where you can define like move forward or backward, and then I just start the engine, and this is all I do. I've already done 1 strip. So how it looks basically is, you might tell here already, you kind of do like a tailor made out of turf in a way. It is like a very long narrow strip, and it is now disconnected from the soil underneath it. So I could really lift the entire thing here, but it's very heavy obviously. So all I do is I come in with my spade and then cut it into smaller sections, kind of like this, maybe like 1 meter or a little over a meter. The longer you do it, the heavier it is obviously. And all I do now is I come in, and then you can roll it up very easily, put it aside, and then I can continue. And this is exactly what I'm going to do. I always just make sure that there's 1 stripe, then I roll it up, and then I have a good space here to go over the area next to it, so that I don't have like tiny strips left in between basically. And this is exactly what I'm going to do now. Very exciting to finally remove all of the turf from this area here. Do you like sushi? Boy, are you in luck. Today's special is turf maki, and guess what? I've got a lot of it. It's kind of like turf galore going on here right now. I'm quite surprised how much turf you can take out of such a small border, but the lovely thing about it is not only that I'm done, but also that I can finally see the dimensions of the border. This is so exciting. You can really see the lines and start to envision how this is gonna look. Isn't that just amazing? That was the first time I was ever using that machine, and guess what? It was great fun. I'm really surprised myself that I'm saying this, because normally when it comes to machines like this, for me this is already like heavy duty. I tend to shy away a little bit from that. I'm always happy if I find somebody to do this, but I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just trying it out, and it really was nice and so accomplishing. So next time I think I'm just gonna rent an excavator. How about that? Everybody needs to brace for impact, then obviously in a radius of 500 kilometers probably, if you give anything like that into my hands. But obviously what I'm going to do now is take care of this situation. I really need to remove all of these lovely turf marquee rolls now. But I think the first thing we need to do is to give the machine back to the rental, because we're already in the late afternoon and we need to drive there about 40 to 45 minutes and it's rush hour. So I think that removing this will be a job for tomorrow. And on top of it, I have apple pie in the fridge, which I want to heat up now, and with a mug of coffee. So I think I'm going to call it a day today and continue tomorrow with you. But yeah, that was so accomplishing, I can tell you. What a great start into the new border. It's a new day, and as you might see, it is another really beautiful spring day. And what is nicer to just get out here and start removing all of those nice turf rolls that I prepared here. It's one of those kind of like tedious jobs, but a little mindless in a way. You know, you just go out here, you don't really think a lot, and your mind drifts away. You start seeing how this area comes together, and this is just a nice thing about it. I already prepared a planting scheme for the area, and what I'm going to do is also tonight go inside and just look at that planting scheme again, just to see, does it make sense? Is there a nice flow in here? Because now I could finally really see the curves and how it all might work. It has a really nice depth as well here, which I really love, because when a border is quite nice and deep, then you really have the opportunity to plant into bigger drifts. And as you might know from my garden, I love to plant in drifts. What I want to show you is how I used actually all of the turf, because you might know that I'm working heavily at the back of a slope, so just come with me and I show you how I utilized it, which is actually a really nice way on how to use it. If we create other borders in the garden, I really need to think of what to do with that turf. Maybe we need to have a container at one point, but so far it was really lovely. So you know, I've been working here on these 3 layers. So I have my top layer with the raised beds over there. Then I have my second layer here that I've already leveled. Everything is prepared really nice, level, very lofty, nice soil. So I used all of the turf from up there to really stabilize the last layer here, because it sets in, it's like nice on a roll. So I could just really trample it in, firm it in, and what I have is, I hope you can see it from up there, there is still a lot of soil actually here that I didn't need on the top. So what I can do now is just hop down. There goes the mic. But I don't care. Okay, here's the mic again. So there is a lot of soil still here, and what I can do now is just come in with my rake and rake all of this over here, and I think it should be enough soil, which is really nice. I've already trampled it in here, and the entire support system is really safe and sound, which is always important. So this is the next I'm going to do, level everything out, and then the slope is pretty much prepared for this year's fruit and vegetable growing, which is really exciting. A lot of work went into here, and a lot of work is still going to go into the new border up there, but I'm really excited about that. But you know what, I'm going to call it a day today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I would really love to welcome you in my garden very soon again. I think you have an idea what might be the next project, but be excited. Take care, guys. Bye.